You're good to go.
We good. All right. We don't need to take a roll call or anything. Everybody here?
Except for Dr. Craddock. He's
Okay.
supposed to be on as well.
All right.
Alicia is on.
Okay, great.
Well,
There
did
she
everybody
is.
get a copy of the minutes from
Hi,
the last?
Alicia.
Yeah, it was late, but everybody got it. But it should have been an easy read.
If everybody looked over those, can we just approve the minutes from the last meeting?
I'll make a motion.
Thanks, Michael.
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Rita, I'm driving. What's the next on the agenda?
Sorry, that's right. So we're gonna have an update from Chip with regard to DOR. And then we'll talk a little bit. We're just gonna share a little bit on the budget template that we're working on. And then there's Dr. Craddock now. I was getting ready to text him.
Doug, thanks for
and
joining.
then we'll go from there.
Hey, y'all. Good morning.
All right, Chip,
Yes, sir.
just give us a little update.
I'll do. I was pulling up my email with the document. Hold on a second. We received a letter from the Department of Revenue that provided the 2022 or 2023 base information. So I wanted to share that with you all. And also I spoke with Gary Morris, the director of Department of Revenue directly, and have some commentary from him as well. And that's what I'm going to share with you. But like I said, they send, as you can imagine, Department of Revenue sends it encrypted. So I've got to try to open it back up. I had it open.
Chip, does he still plan on attending a full board meeting?
What's that?
Does he still plan on attending a full board meeting?
Well, he's going to try. I explained to him when I gave him the date for the board meeting, and he's going to try. But I'm not too sure that they weren't named in a lawsuit, and that might cause
a little. Okay.
Being in public, speaking.
Yeah.
So
they were named in the same lawsuit against the part as challenging the constitutionality of the partnership statutes. So
yeah, so the
likelihood of him coming while that is going on is slim, and I understand that's enough said.
Yeah, but he wants to come. He wants to be able to communicate. There's not a lot to communicate. I have the letter pulled up here just so we have
got it.
We were looking forward to in the files.
Yeah, we have a hard copy in front of us, but I don't have the.
Okay. The real property tax. So basically, it's just there was a letter addressed to Ms. Douglas from the Department of Revenue. It's and what they did is that they call it the quote unquote old revenues for 2022. That's what it's termed for real property tax, sales tax, and state individual tax withholding. So the old revenues verified totals about 37,990,000 thereabouts. And this is a public information. It's not like we can't share it. I'm just giving you all the numbers. So the total is there's in that 13 square mile TIF zone of the 9 neighborhoods, there's $37 million of taxable property, 37,000,009. And it's broken down this way. Real property, there's about $1.7 billion of real property assessments in the 13 square miles of the 9 neighborhoods. Sales tax accounted for 15,000,001. And the state withholding tax is 21,000,001. So 21,000,001. So that's what those are the official, if you will, the base. Now they spend their time and they calculate, okay, what were those same figures for the period beginning January 1, 2023 to December 31st, 2023? And do they individually produce an increment such that there's a net payment to the partnership? And Gary said it'll take the better part of the year to get that. Which, consistent with what I'm communicating to the board is the finance committee, which is that or you all have been consistent reporting, is it'll probably be, you know, October, November before you have an idea what that number is.
There it
There
is,
you go.
Chip.
Yes, ma'am. That's the letter I just referenced. 37,000,009 is the total, and they broke it out by real property of $1,700,000,000. Sales tax is 15 million. State income tax is 21 billion. You know, just for interesting context, most, you know, I'd say everybody's probably familiar with the town of Bardstown, near and dear to my heart, of course, but a total property assessed valuation in Bardstown is about 2 billion. So, you know, 13, you got 13 square miles. It accounts for 1.7 billion of assessed property. Just interesting context is all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now it's just be good information to get as they start, so we get the increment and see exactly how we will be affected.
That's right. And there is no more information to be gleaned from what Department of Revenue shared. There's no way to project, well, what do we think it will be, you know? You know, the one thing that I do want to research that if I can have luck with it is, you know, the PVA, the real property assessment is a little easier because everybody gets their house assessed and that kind of thing. It's done by the PBA. There is a Louisville PBA. What I am curious about is if the 2022 year, you know how PBAs go around. Technically, what they're supposed to do in a county is they're supposed to do 1/4 of a county every year, so that everybody gets their house or property reassessed once every 4 years. And what I wonder is, when was the last time that those 9 neighborhoods, if they're in the same quadrant, were assessed? Because if it's potential that it might have been at a low point, and if they just reassessed in 2023 or 24 or 25, then you're automatically going to start out with a bump just by reassessment.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So
Jim.
I'm gonna reach out to PBA here in Jefferson County, and now that we have this, and see what I can gather from that.
Good deal.
No, I have to go. There was a message with that.
Anybody got any
Okay.
questions, Chip, on the information that we do have?
I have one. Chip, you may have, I was looking for this to pull up, so you may have already covered it, but somewhere in that encrypted email, did they speak to let me back up. You have always advised the committee and the board that even though we were waiting for this number, when this number came, it would just be a number. And that's for 2022. Somewhere I read in this that the first revenue from it would not be until like around October, November of this year.
Right.
You may have said that while I was looking in my emails for some stuff, but that's
Yes, that's
important
the way
to note.
They will do, the way it'll work, Rita, is, you know, they'll get property assessments. Well, they'll know that number probably July, August or so, because that's the way the PBA across the Commonwealth of Kentucky set up, and Jefferson County is no different. So we'll have that. You know, they won't tell us. They'll wait and tell us this all at once. Okay, but I'm just saying that real estate property will be. And remember the gentleman named Dobson. Remember, he was already done when we went to Frankfurt and met with them together. He was the one that was sort of done with his. And that was in the summer, late summer, early fall last year, if you recall. Same thing will happen this time. He'll have his done, but we will have, withholding will take a long time, to get. And, the sales tax information, it's gonna be probably, like I said, if it wasn't a new area in which they're trying to get this information and so big, they would probably have it by, August or so, but I'm betting I'm just telling you, it's gonna be, my guess is October, November, when they will say, we have your new, revenue numbers for these three components, and here's what they are, and therefore measured against the 2022 old revenue nut figures. This is the check that the Commonwealth of Kentucky will send to you, to the partnership. So you'll get a check.
Okay.
Probably. They're probably required, Rita, to do it by the year end, I would say.
Yeah.
If I was,
Okay, and so just my final follow-up question to that is this a good time to start thinking about the impact of that inflation factor that we talked about before we get to when the check comes? I don't know all the calculations around that or what it looks like. So I yield that to you to see if that is a valid question.
Yeah, that's a great question for Department of Revenue, and I think that's something that they can probably prepare for earlier, just to say, hey, FYI, the old revenue figure was these three numbers that they just sent in this letter dated, the letter's dated April 25th.
April 25th.
Right. And they can, and I don't know how long it would take them, but I can't imagine it would take them that long just to, because we already know the year-end CPI or whatever the index that they benchmark to, for them to say, and this is what that inflates to when we go about measuring it later this year. I think they could provide that. That would be good information to ready the
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just
board
think
for.
I think it's a good question for them, and just let's address that as we continue the conversations with them.
Just one other real quick note. I think this letter is important for us because it actually does validate and note what the three types of taxes are. I think everyone is aware that in the community meetings we had, there were some attendees who were insisting that we were receiving school taxes as part of the receipts of funds that we were getting from the state. But this letter clearly says a real property tax, sales tax, and individual income tax, three components of taxes.
That'll definitely validate that, definitely.
Yes.
Okay, anybody else have any questions on that note? I'm just kind of rushing because, I gotta get out, so, what is the next on the agenda? Do we need to accept the financials?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, they were sent out, so did everybody get a chance to look at those? I mean, nothing jumped out at me.
Yeah. Rita, I sent you an email. One of the files you sent out was for January instead of March.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the second set of the financial documents.
Oh. Okay, I'll have to, let's see what I sent you. In terms of the second set. Oh, I must have pulled the wrong one. Okay. I will, as soon as we're done here, Mike, I will go ahead and correct that. I must have pulled it from the wrong place there, because I'm looking here. Let me take a quick peek. 429 on that one. Yes, you're correct. On the general ledger. On the general ledger, I pulled the 222 instead of the and I labeled it incorrectly too. So I will resend the general ledger So I'm glad it was that one rather than the actual financial reports, but you all had you had the highlights and everything. I will correct that immediately after we finish this. Thank you for that observation. Of course, it was at a crazy hour, so forgive me.
And then I did have a question, the CW Infotech, the deposit. That was mentioned in
Yes,
the.
that's
Um,
all of our IT, Mike. That was the deposit for all of our computers that we've been installing here at the office, all of our phone system, all of our video recording. That's what that's for. That's the company that we've been working with since March, I believe, to get the office set up. So that's what that is.
So is there gonna, is, what's the total? Is there more than what's in there, or is that all of it?
That was 60% of the deposit required to do the work. So the balance has already been taken care of. It will come through on April. I think the final balance on that was like $11,000 for everything. Yeah,
Okay, so that was computers, phone system, and video conference equipment.
yes, uh-huh.
Okay.
For all of our current office space here, phone system, wiring, we had to rewire. I think we had to do Cat 6 wiring. We tried to use the old wiring that was already here in the building, but it didn't work. So that was wiring, labor, materials, everything, switches, everything is
Yeah,
in that.
and Rita, just update, what was the total cost on that?
It was about 20, I'll look, it was like, with the wiring was like about $6,000, but all the computers and everything and the phones and all that, I think it's around 22,000.
Right. Operationally, it was below 50, and I think it was even below 30.
Yes.
So
Was
yes.
well below 50, yeah. And
Yeah, okay.
we tried to, our first attempt was to save that wiring, but we couldn't do it
Right.
here. So it would have just been around that 22, but then we had to do the new Cat 6 wiring.
Okay.
Okay.
Does
So
anybody
yeah,
have
we're
any-
just about, as of yesterday, we're just about operational on that.
Does that include phones for all the offices or just the two people in place?
It's phones, computers for all the offices that we currently occupy. We will next month start doing our small committee meetings here. We have state-of-the-art video conferencing. They just commissioned that yesterday. The guys have been stellar, and we are excited and cannot wait for us to finish out the space here so the board can see where we're officially located now.
Okay. Rita, since that the ledger was incorrect, we may want to just accept these at the full board meeting, okay?
Okay, yes, I sent the wrong month.
Yeah.
I sent February, so I'll resend that and then we can accept them at the board meeting,
Okay.
like you suggested.
Does anybody else have any questions about any of the other information?
And the only thing I was going to do, we talked about this last month. We've, all of this is not populated, but what we wanted to do was to kind of give you guys an idea of what we're doing with regard to building the budget. Now, some of these line items here will be removed or hidden because they don't all apply to us. This is the template that I worked with Otis to get us set up. So we're not only doing coming up with a company budget, but of course, we have to do all of the documentation that supports our budget. So we're doing it for 2023, 2024, we'll do 2020, we'll populate 2021 as well as 2022. And so we've got quite a bit of work still ahead of us. And what we would like to do is to finish this out, have it in your hands, like hopefully within the week so that it's prepared. You'll have it for the next finance committee meeting, which will be the week prior to the board meeting. We're looking at board meeting somewhere around the 28th or 29th. We're kind of getting a feel for people's schedules because the 27th is in fact an actual holiday. So I think unless you guys have any objections, I think we're looking at the 28th of May. I know Dr. Craddock will be at a conference in in Hawaii. So we're not going to ask him to Zoom in. But at any rate, we're using totals. But what Otis has helped do in terms of our conversations, we've incorporated some of the individual information with regard to their system and working with us. So again, this will all be done for each of the years. So when it comes to you, it will be comprehensive.
Hey, this
So
looks like a
anyway,
good
that's what we're
template.
doing. Yeah,
This looks
yeah,
like
it's
a good
very,
template.
it's too much
On the right
information.
road. I gotta jump. If anybody has any questions, Laura, handle that. We don't have to approve anything else until we
Okay.
get the financials to accept. So if there's any other dialogue, you and Rita probably can answer those questions, and then I'll follow back up after I get out of this meeting.
All right.
Okay, all right, thank you, William.
I have one
Any
question.
other questions?
I have one question.
Yes.
I did not see any expenses for legal fees, communication, and marketing during that period. I know we've been marketing
Yeah,
like crazy.
it's not totally populated.
Okay.
Yeah. Alicia, that's not all populated yet with those recent fees. All of that will be populated when it comes to you in the email. Actual
And you're referring
expenses.
to the,
Is that what you're talking about?
I'm talking about the document that you sent to us already, not what you showed. Is that what you're talking about?
Are you talking about are you talking about the financial reports?
I'm
You
talking
didn't
about the
see
income
any,
statement.
you mean the marketing from Peak Advertising?
On the expenses, it says 0 for marketing, communication, and legal fees. And I know we've been doing something, and I didn't know if it was
Is
deferred
that
for later
cumulative or
time.
just for the month of March?
March.
Okay.
We haven't done anything. We didn't make any payments in those areas in March.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
they were made earlier. Okay, I thought you were talking about my form. Yeah, we didn't do anything. Those payments for the marketing, there were 2 payments that were done in January, February for the campaign, because the campaign ended April 15th, but they were already paid for that. So, and then anything else with regard to marketing or assistance comes pro bono through Dr. Wade's seat on the board.
Thank you.
Yeah, and my March bill was paid in early April, so that should show
That's
up
right.
on the April.
That's right. Okay.
Any other questions that anyone may have?
11:54.
Okay. All right, thank you for your time and attention. Is there a motion to
Yeah.
adjourn?
So move.
Okay, a second?
Second.
Did I hear a second? Okay, all right. All in
Okay.
favor? All right, I'll just say we're adjourned. Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna email out. Thanks for that catch, Mike. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're
Hey,
welcome.
it's a big week for Louisville this week.
Pardon me?
Big week for Louisville this week.
Big week,
We're on the
yeah.
Oh,
National
yeah,
Spotlight.
yeah, it is.
I
Yes.
hope everybody has a great week.
I want to see you all in your derby attire, Chip. With your
I go
plaid
the
coats and
opposite
your polka
direction.
dot jacket.
I'm an old man. I go the opposite direction. I hope it, but I'm
All
happy
right,
for
thank you,
for
guys.
Kentucky.
All right.
Big deal. See
Bye-bye.
y'all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.